Hey y'all, hey, if you're new here, welcome to the channel. If you're a returning subby, welcome back. Today we're gonna do something that went viral a few months ago, but I feel like it's still, trending. It's the glitter knotless braids, and we're gonna go ahead and hop right into it. We ain't gonna waste no time. Okay, so I just showed the hair I use. These were butt length, so I used the 72-inch expression hair and about 10-ish packs of the glitter tinsel. It comes in multiple colors, and if you want to get some for your next look, you can go ahead and click the link in my description. I have some linked in my Amazon storefront. So my idea was to not load her entire head down with the tinsel. I still wanted the braids to be the main focus of the style, and the glitter to just be the accent. So I had this idea to split the tinsel pack in half when I was mixing some of it with the braiding hair, and then for other bundles I used the entire pack of tinsel. So while I'm braiding, you can kind of see where there's more tinsel in some of the braids than others. Some of the braids are just solid braiding hair, just to have that nice balance of braiding hair and tinsel, because it can, I've seen some styles and it just looked a little bit too glittery. Like, she's still a grown woman, you know what I'm saying? We're not gonna Bratz doll her up, but enough to be cute without being too much. So if you've ever braided with the 72-inch expression hair, then it can definitely tangle up on you. So I recommend using either a hairspray or a light leave-in conditioner just to help while you're mixing, because the tinsel has a texture of its own, and it mixed with that long braiding hair that already tangles, you don't want a disaster. So just make sure you're kind of like adding a little bit of moisture to the hair just to help with the blending process. And these are how the bundles looked after I was finished mixing it. So the next step is to prep the braiding hair on the rack for the knotless braid style. If you haven't seen my previous prep video on how I set my hair out on my rack, make sure you go and watch that. I feel like it's the fastest way to prep. I know some people just like to lay the pieces out, but as you watch my tutorial, you'll be able to see I don't feed in hair from only one side of the braid. I actually do like a double feed method. So putting it on this rack actually helps with that. Also helps with portion control, because sometimes you might have made the pieces too big or not big enough. So I always swear by the rack. So she actually added on for a shampoo and blow dry before her braid set. So I went ahead and blow dried her hair off camera to prep for the braids. So this is my first braid. So I used the comb to split the hair into three, and I don't know if you were able to see it, but I laid a piece of braiding hair over her shoulder. That helps with being able to grab a piece of hair to feed onto the right side. So I start with the left side, feed one piece in. I go to the right side, feed another piece, and then I feed a final piece on the left side to balance the sides out. I prefer my box braids to be thick from the root. Like, I know some people knotless braids start small and then they get bigger, and I just prefer to not do it. I feel like sometimes they kind of like twist around themselves, or they grow out kind of weird, and I just don't like it. I also don't braid the natural hair before feeding the braiding hair in. I feed the braiding hair right in from the root so that it keeps that consistent size. So this is how they were looking after doing 2 rows, and I was absolutely in love. Like, every braid was unique. When I set the braiding hair out, I kind of set some of the more, more of the pieces that had more of the tinsel in certain spots. Like, the way I was picking it up, I was very meticulous with balancing out how the braids look, the way, like I was saying before, and it was just coming out absolutely like perfect. And her hair was nice and thick and full, so I was able to execute the look without having her, you know what I'm saying, like look like a little girl. So right now I'm just cleaning up her part, and I'm going to go in with the next row of braids. Okay, so another tip when doing knotless or just braids in general, I like to start my brick lay pattern more so from the middle and kind of work my way out, because that way I'll be able to lay the braids like in a perfect fashion so that, they're not like kind of like ill shaped. Because if a parting, my parting square or triangle or whatever is like a little misshapen, I'd rather those braids be on the outside of the row rather than the middle. I feel like all the braids in the middle need to lay, perfectly so that you make sure you have that full look. So I always start parting out my braids for the row in the middle. Okay, so right here you get a closer look at how I start my knotless. So I use the comb to separate the parting space into 3 pieces. I do one, little loop around, not a full braid, but I start feeding the hair in from the left, then from the right, and then back again from the left. And after you add all your pieces in, you want to make sure you pull a little bit at the natural hair so that the braiding hair flows back up to the root of the braid. I hope I'm explaining it right. You can more so see what I'm talking about, and I'm gonna show plenty more times me starting braids from many different angles so that you're able to see exactly what I'm talking about. But if you look at the root of the braids, you will see that it doesn't start off hella small and then get bigger. It has a uniform size until it starts to taper off at the end of the braid. All right, so if you're subscribed to the channel already, I hope at this point everybody is. But if you've watched my previous videos, or if you follow me on Instagram or on TikTok, you know I am an advocate for tucking. I don't care what color braids you're getting put in, what color your natural hair is, even if it's the exact color match. Make sure you are always tucking. This makes sure your braids have that longevity and you're able to keep them longer and that they last. So with this particular set, I was tucking the natural hair, but I was also making sure to kind of put the tinsel on top of the braid so that it shows, because when you tuck, automatically everything is going, to the back of the braid, but you want the tinsel to actually show through. So you want to make sure, as you're braiding, that you're putting the tinsel to the top of the braid so that it could be shown when it's finished.
What's happening to me in the dark? Can you tell me what it means? I lay my head on my pillow, staring out the window, trying to stop for a sign. It's the reason why you always on my mind. You come around like this, and I see you, and I see you, baby. When I never look in my hair and my nails look. I feel myself in the zone when you're nervous when you're gone. I say I'm not home. See your face and I hear my favorite song. Should I send an email at home? You're the number one topic on the phone. I wonder if you know, or do you have a clue? Yeah. I lay my head on my pillow, and you got me staring out the window. What's on the stars outside? What's the reason why? Yeah. You're always sexy boy. You're sexy.
So this video might be a little long, but I didn't want to speed up any of the sections of me actually braiding, because I feel like that's the part that, you know, people actually, you know, want to see. So at this point, it's just repetition. Like, I'm just putting the braids in. I might do a braid that's full of tinsel, and then the next braid will be less, just to, you know, keep it balanced. But at this point, I'm making my way up to the top, so I'm almost done. Just had a lot of hair, and it was a very long day, so I was super excited, you know, once I get to this point. But I'm just gonna keep on braiding, really, and I'm not gonna speed it up. I'm just gonna pretty much let it ride out, and I'll come back when I get to the next point.
Straight to a penthouse, Miami Beach. Yeah, yo, talk crazy on tweets. They don't want it cause I come to defeat. They don't want it. I peek, these niggas all sweet. Bamboo sticks all in the Jeep. It's a new weirdo every week. Get the whip, put it up for my seeds. No care for the IG, just no care. Do anything for club. They do anything for club. Do anything for club. They do anything for club. Do anything for club. They do anything for club. Do anything for club.
Whole lot of people need to hear this. It's a lot of names on my hit list. I'm still say what he wants to. Still wet like a big. I should run a whole blog at this rate. They using my name for clickbait. They even wanna start fake beef. Sell a little weep in the mixtape. They know I'm the bomb. They ticking me off. Say anything to get a response. I know that mean they traffic is slow. Somebody just gotta practice along. So she being tame. They'd rather be wild. This bandit, they wanna be down. Soon as this got something to sell, they say my name, Destiny Child. Everybody wanna be lit. Everybody wanna be rich. Everybody wanna be this. They fuss you out, hate me. Bring my problems. Suck my all of that talking, I'm calling it out. Calling opinions from private accounts. You not a check, then you gotta bounce. I got the drip, come get it now. They do anything for clout. Do anything for clout. This is mad, this is trash. It's gonna grouch. See me win, they gotta hurt. Ouch. So when they see me, what they gonna do? Up on the couch, back.
Do anything for club. They do anything for club. Do anything for club. They do anything for club. Do anything for club. They do anything for club. Do anything for club.
So this is one of the braids I was talking about when I said some of them are just black. So from what I can see, there's no tinsel in any of the pieces that I fed in. But once you see the style come together, like those solid braids, they don't stand out. Like they don't look weird next to the braids that are full of tinsel. It really just creates a balance. So I feel like if anybody does do a style like this, having every single braid have a tinsel in it is unnecessary. And I was getting to the point where I had literally used up every pack of tinsel I had, so I didn't want to get to the top and possibly run out. So it made sense to just put some of the solid braids in the back. I did put some in the front as well, but I didn't want to run the risk of running out. So I will say get 10 packs. Like, that was perfectly enough hair to have a balanced glitter box braid look.
Only been a few hours, but it felt like days. Only been days, but it felt like months. Only gone for a year, only know like once. Life move fast when you do what you want.
Baby. Every braider knows this is the holy grail moment, like the last braid. We in there giggling, but baby, best believe we are tired. Me and my client. But at this point, like, seeing the entire style come together, like, I was super excited. And this is the first time I did the glitter box braids. Like, she hit me up saying like she wanted the look, and I was excited to do it. She picked the pink color and everything. Like, I was super impressed with how this style came together. Like, it came together really nicely.
Will you be my leading lady? I wanna call you and get a little maybe. In the meantime,
It's not going well.
get some me time.
You know what you want. Only been a few hours, but it felt like days. Only been days, but it felt like months. Only gone for a year, only know like once. Life move fast when you do what you want.
In the meantime,
It's not going well. I want.
get some me time.
You know what you want.
In the meantime,
It's not going well. I want.
get some me time.
You know what you want.
Maybe I'll love myself. I don't know. Leave me here, I'll fuck myself. See me in the mirror, I duck myself. Don't need much, so fuck my wealth.
All right, so now that I finished all the braids, I'm gonna go ahead and dip the ends. So when I dip the ends of my braids, I don't pour the water in the pitcher and then dip. I pour it onto the braids. That way I'm able to saturate more of, the braids as I'm dipping. Now, the downside to this tinsel is that it bleeds. Do y'all see how pink that water is turning? But surprisingly, it didn't lose its color. Like, as you can see, the bottom of the braids, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's still pink. It still keeps its color. But usually I would just use the water that's already in there and kind of go around the head. But because the color started bleeding so much on the tinsel, as I did each section, I just went ahead and poured the water out and started over with a fresh pitcher of water, just so that I wasn't putting that pink water back onto her hair. But baby, that tinsel bled. That water was like hot pink, the same, like you could see it was the same color as the tinsel. Like, and as I poured the water on it, I was like, oh my god. But the tinsel didn't mess up, it didn't crinkle up, it didn't do anything. And baby, when I tell you I boil my water, I take it right out the thing and put it right on the braids. Like, I want it hot so that it gets the braids nice and steamy and straight. And after that, it's business as usual. I put the mousse on her braids, smoothed it out, and just finished up the style. So the tinsel was pretty much like braiding hair. Like, it took to all the products. It didn't react weird to any other products that I use. And I didn't record it, 'cause at this point I was tired, y'all. But it didn't react to any of the other products I use, like the holding sprays and the oils, everything. So it worked really well, and I definitely love to do this style again. And y'all see how it turned out, like the shimmer, the glitter, it was just giving looks. Like I did the low light and it was just glittering, baby. I loved it. So make sure y'all subscribe. Y'all see I'm coming with the uploads. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok. My name is the same across all platforms. And I'll see y'all in the next video.